Hello everyone, welcome to Lin's Napoleonic shipyard. Today I want to share with you my build of the Santa Ana, a Spanish 112 gun ship of the line. For this I used the hull from Turner miniatures, I scratch built the mast, I tried to make my own sails from rice paper, a little bit of an experiment. This was built as a commission for a very nice gent in the UK. And yeah, let's get into it, let's work through it. This is a 1:700 scale build, by the way. Launched in 1784, the Santa Ana was a very large ship. She carried 112 guns, 36 pounders on the lower deck, so a very heavy broadside also for the time. She was the Spanish flagship at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805, where she was captured, but then later recaptured and returned to Cadiz. As a survivor of Trafalgar, she represents probably the height of Spanish shipbuilding during the age of sail, if you ask me. Very clean, beautiful lines. That's the thing when you build a Spanish ship, also in 1:700 scale, it always catches me, those really beautiful, sleek lines that they have. Also, like my HMS Gibraltar started her life as the Spanish ship Phoenix, right? And it's a very beautiful ship as well. So I got this hull from Henry Turner of Turner Miniatures, and it was like a little bit of a trial. He tried to print it on his Bamboo A1, and it was the early trials for him. So FDM prints, my experience so far is that they're quite a bit rougher than if you would do a resin print. So I had to do a lot of prep work on this one, sanding and cutting and so on. So a little bit rough on the edges in the early stages here. However, I think she turned out pretty well in the end. The masts were scratch built, and that's I do because I think they look better at scale. It is much easier, as I usually say, if you're just building for your fleet, get masts from Warlord Games. Those plastic masts in the frames are great, easy. And you can bend them if you would like the yard arms to be a little bit turned, maybe get some lean like I talked about in another video. But just for your special builds, building your mast is really rewarding, and it also looks better at scale, I think. So for this one, that's what I did. I'm not going to go into diameters and so on for this build, because you can find that in some of my other videos. Especially the one about rigging and building masts, I think. For painting, I mostly use Vallejo, because I'm just used to Vallejo. I like Vallejo, especially their off-white is one of my favorite colors. But I also use quite a bit of Army Painter. Especially I use the 2.0 version of the Speedpaints. The earlier version, for some stuff, is really good, but it kind of bleeds through. Like even if it's dry, sometimes it reactivates when you use brushes or wet on that paint. The 2.0 doesn't do that, and it's a contrast paint. So I apply that as a base coat, and then I end up with a bit of a shade or a contrast or already before I start building up with maybe some washes and highlighting and so on. For Spanish ships, always really nice around the stern and the fore of the ship, because or the bow, because really nice figureheads usually, and of course the stern galleries are always very exquisite on Spanish ships, I find. So that was a pleasure to paint on this one as well. The sea base is my usual one. It's a clear acrylic. This one I didn't make myself as the acrylic piece. I got it from War Bases in UK. Can really recommend them if you're looking for bases, like pill bases and so on for your ships. This is a square base, and as usual what I do is I paint the underside with some of this orc green, I think it's called, from Speedpaint, also Army Painter Speedpaints. And then I mix in an ink I have, like a turquoise ink that creates a kind of a semi-transparent paint, gives a lot of depth. And then on top I'll use some stuff from Green Stuff World. I like that one, it's called Splash Gel. It's basically a sea texture, so it dries kind of thick. It's like a gel almost. And then some sea foam, like a thick, very opaque white for the crests and so on, the bow wave and so on. I always give my ships probably too much speed, but that's also for the time, but I kind of like it because it looks like they're in action, and I talked about that in another video, so I did that for this one as well. Also, like it's like an illusion of motion, but also keeps the ship itself like visually grounded. Standing and running rigging is I spend a lot of time, probably the most time I spend on the rigging. Some parts on this ship I actually use some 0.3mm brass wire because I just wanted it to have some additional strength, like the outermost line on the bowsprit is wire, for instance. And this it creates a little bit of strength where it's needed. Otherwise, I'll use the rigging line I get from Warlord Games. It's a pretty thick synthetic line, black one for the standing rigging. And I make sure that I tighten and everything with the rigging while I'm working with it, using small dabs of cyano acrylic glue, like the gel version is the best. I talked about that in another video as well. And then I add in the standing rigging, the running rigging. For the running rigging, I right now I use this elastic thread, and I've shown that in another video as well. Maybe the running rigging I've seen, maybe it should have a little bit more. It shouldn't be so tensioned always, but for this scale, maybe that. I prefer this look, and also since the line is elastic, it's not going to go super slack over time, so I guess that's just the preference. Of course, I don't do all the running rigging because that would be pretty difficult, I'm sure, and I've seen some really talented people do more of that, but you have to remember this is a game piece. The gent I'm making it for, he's going to use it for games, right? So you don't want to have them. It's always a balance between fragility and looks, right? But you don't want it too fragile. The good thing is with these C bases, the acrylic bases, they're pretty solid, and you can move the ship by touching the base. So you never really have to touch the ship itself or the rigging, the mast. You just move it by touching the base, the C base. So I'm very happy with how this turned out. I think I managed to capture a little bit of the power and the grace, because there's a lot of grace in the lines of these large Spanish ships, especially the Santana, I feel. And then also that, it all came together with the hull from Turner Miniature, and then the scratch built mast, the sails from rice paper, which was a little bit of a test. I both like them and not like them so much. I hope the gent I made them for will like them. Looks like he liked them when I send him pictures. Might try. I'm still experimenting. Actually, with sails, that's probably my biggest experiment at the moment. I'm not completely happy. Most of my sails look good, I think, but I think I could make them better. So that's probably going to be this summer. Since I'm a teacher, I have time off. So I'm going to be spending that time trying to figure out a really good way to do sails for this ship. If you have any ideas, maybe you can let me know in the comments below. That would be very helpful to me. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and then also consider subscribing to Linus Napoleonic Shipyard. With this video, I'm also proud to announce that I actually have 1,000 subscribers, and I'm very thankful for that, guys. It's great. I'm happy that so many can stand my Swedish droning and all my ahs and ums, Maybe you have a suggestion for the next build. That would be really nice. I have a really special one coming up, actually. Warlord Games were very kind. They've sent me, because I wanted to expand a bit. I'm also interested in the Second World War. So naval combat for that area, and they do have a game that is in that era, so they were very kind to send me a starter box, and so I'll be doing an unboxing on that like opening up and seeing what's inside. I'm really excited about that. Probably I'll paint some of the ships, show you how that looks, if some of you are also into Second World War stuff. And of course I'll play a game with my friends using those rules, so you get an idea of that as well. I know this is Linus Napoleonic shipyard, but I do all kinds of ships, and as you see I do HEMA as well, that historic European martial arts. So I'll probably expand the channel with a little bit of a Second World War section if I like the rules. I'm not sure yet. They're super kind to send it to me, and I'm really excited to try it out. So thanks for watching.